Since the late 50s, Hanna-Barbera's smarter than the average bear Yogi Bear had become such a big icon. He, along with Huckleberry Hound, had become one of the CEO's big names before the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Johnny Quest, or any other characters, or even the Smurfs. And in 2010, after he had done numerous animated spin offs of his series and movies, well, he got his own live action feature. But is it really that bad after 15 years, since its anniversary was a month ago? Or can I prove to these critics that I'm smarter than the average movie fanatic? Find out as I review Yogi Bear.
Hey, this is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews.
So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome again to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. I'm the Big D, and this time around, I bring to you a review of the 2010 live action animated comedy flick Yogi Bear, released by Warner Bros., directed by Eric Brevig, written by Brad Copeland, Joshua Sternin, and Jennifer Ventimiglia. Based on Hanna-Barbera's Yogi Bear's show, the film features the voice of Dan Aykroyd as the titular character, along with Justin Timberlake as his little companion Boo Boo, along with Anna Faris, Tom Cavanaugh, and T.J. Miller. The film centers around the titular character in Boo Boo, along with Ranger Smith and a nature documentary filmmaker, as well to stop their home of Jellystone Park from being logged. Now, of course, the film's anniversary was a month ago. It celebrated its 15th anniversary last month on December 17th, 2010. But it got largely dissed by critics, but however, it was still a big hit, just like any other flick with creatures had done since I'd say this was made kind of in the wake of Alvin and the Chipmunks, which was 3 years before this and a year after its sequel. But what am I to know? Let's get into the story. Yogi and Boo Boo are two talking brown bears who steal picnic baskets from campers at Franklin C's Jellystone Park. Head Park Ranger Smith always finds out about the incidents from his co-ranger Jones, and is annoyed that Yogi refuses to act like a regular bear. Meanwhile, Mayor R. Brown realizes that Franklin C is facing bankruptcy due to profligate spending on his part. Brown plots with his chief of staff to raise money for the town budget and his upcoming gubernatorial campaign by shutting down Jellystone and owning the land to logging. To save the park, Smith and Jones, with help from documentary filmmaker Rachel Johnson, whom Smith is instantly smitten with, hold a centennial festival and fireworks show in an attempt to sell season passes. To sabotage the event, Brown promises Jones the position of head ranger if the funds are not raised. Yogi and Boo Boo had promised Smith to stay outside during the festival, but Jones convinces them otherwise. The bears try to please the crowd with a water skiing performance, but Yogi accidentally sets his cape on fire, causing the fireworks to be launched into the crowd, who flee in fear. After Jellystone is shut down, Smith is demoted by Mayor Brown to serve in the polluted and urban city park of Evergreen Park and scolds Yogi for interfering with the festival. A dejected Yogi finally decides to act like a real bear, but Boo Boo gets him to come to his senses by showing him cut down trees. Seeing that their home is in danger of being destroyed, the two bears travel to Evergreen Park, where they and Smith figure out Brown's plan. Yogi and Smith reconcile in the process. They all return to Jellystone with Rachel, where they learn that Boo Boo's pet turtle is a rare and endangered species known as a frog-mouthed turtle, meaning that according to law, the park cannot be destroyed because the turtle is living there. The chief of staff learns about the turtle and sends Jones to kidnap it. On the day that Brown is planning a press conference to begin the destruction of the park, Smith, Rachel, and the bears rescue the turtle and try to bring it to the me's attention. Jones, learning that he has been deceived by Brown, has a change of heart and helps the team bring the turtle to the press conference. Now, for the ending, as always, you know the procedure. You got 5 seconds to sub this video at once. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. As I start counting down now, if you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Well, Brown has his guard steal the turtle and informs the group that he will break the law in order to achieve his goals and express confidence that if Ranger Smith tells the world about his crimes, then no one will believe him. While Brown gives his speech at the press conference, the gang recalled that Rachel had installed a hidden camera in Boo Boo's bow tie for a documentary, which had captured Brown's confession. While Yogi and Boo Boo distract the security guards, Ranger Smith hooks up the camera to the Jumbotron Brown is using for his press conference and shows the video, causing the crowd to turn against him. Mayor Brown tries to deny that the confession was real, but is ultimately exposed after the turtle, having escaped from Brown's guards, reveals himself to the crowd. After Brown and his staff get into legal trouble with their crimes, Jellystone is reopened and becomes a great success, with Smith reinstated as head ranger, along with the turtle as the park's main attraction. Smith and Rachel admit their feelings for each other and embrace, while Yogi and Boo Boo return to steal and picnic baskets. That's when Smith's like, Yogi! And all that jazz. End of story. So, what did I think of Yogi Bear? Well, I like the movie a little, but not a whole lot. Well, this isn't quite as much fun as what we got with the musical fun of Alvin and the Chipmunks before this, or Squeakquel. But, well, it's fine though. I mean, I kind of had more fun with the live action Scooby Doo film over this one, and same with its sequel, even though those were this. But still, I appreciate what they were trying, especially with the voice and what have you. Even though Dan Aykroyd is fine and what have you, and same with Justin Timberlake, despite I wasn't really big on him much either. But let's not jump into this territory and what have you. So anyway, I am gonna say the film is pretty fun and what have you, and it's funny and all. It kind of has a little bit of nostalgia, kind of like the actual cartoons and what have you. Of course, the originals, from which Yogi had originally started out on the Huckleberry Hound show before he got his own show a few years later. But the reviews were more heavily dissed than even Scooby Doo reviews, with a mere 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, where they say the 3D effects and all-star voice cast are cold comfort for its aggressively mediocre screenplay for the film. Metacritic has a score of 35, but audiences polled by CinemaScore gave it an average B. Common Sense Media was not impressed with this either, and gave the film 1 star, saying it's dumber than the average family comedy won't even impress kids. IGN summed up their review, even though they gave it a 4.0 out of 10, saying, of course the film is meant as a kid's movie, and one supposes that it works on that level. The little ones at the press screening I attended seemed mildly amused, according to the reviewer, who, well, will be nameless. But we learned long ago that kids' movies can operate on more than one level, and that's not something that director Eric Brevig or his screenwriters are interested in. The result is a movie that's dumber than the average bear, though at least it has a P joke in it. Despite the dissing and what have you, this film, however, despite it lost to Tron Legacy as it opened in second place, it managed to do well, going on to make 203 million worldwide on its $80 million budget. And well, though I couldn't find anywhere that it was nominated for Stinkers or Razzies, it did get nominated for a Teen Choice Award for Justin Timberlake's voice, but lost. And but however, John Debney won the ASCAP Award for Top Box Office Films, and this won the EMA Award for Feature Film. So that's fair enough. There was actually a Yogi Bear video game to coincide with the movie, released on the Nintendo Wii and the Nintendo DS. Now, and the film's director was Eric Brevig, and this was only his second and only other film he did after the 2008 take of Journey to the Center of the Earth. And he was mostly well known for doing visual effects for various films like The Lost Boys and The Abyss, Total Recall, Hook, The Indian in the Cupboard, even Wild Wild West and Pearl Harbor, and The Maze Runner. But I feel like I appreciate what he did was fine, but I think you'd be better off with Journey to the Center of the Earth over this. But don't hate me for that. There was to be a sequel to come out. Well, that was announced 2 years later, and have Jay Chandrasekhar of the Broken Lizard films like Super Troopers and the 2005 Dukes of Hazzard film was announced, but the project did not come to fruition. I hope for the. What do you think that would like? Do you think that would have been a good way to introduce us to Cindy Bear? No, that could have been a possibility, but oh well. Nevertheless, I thought Yogi Bear was okay. It was fine. It had a few funny moments, but even after watching it again, it just doesn't come close to my liking to well other films that are based on animated properties. I know everybody here on like the Scooby Doo films or Alvin and the Chipmunks or heck even the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. But overall, it's a fine film. For the cast, we have Dan Aykroyd as the voice of the titular character Yogi. And he's fine and all, but he's nowhere close to as good as the classic old school voice of old Yogi, which was the late great Dallas Butler. I mean, I liked his voice a whole lot more, but don't take my word for it. As for Justin Timberlake as Boo Boo, well, I will appreciate he does a fine job. But I think I could have done a better job in voicing Boo Boo. You know what I'm saying, people? Believe me, that'd be Keen, Yogi. Peachy Keen. I just threw that line there from the classic Yogi Short Pie Pirates just for fun. But seriously, Tom Cavanaugh, even before he became part of the CW's Arrowverse on The Flash, play Ranger Smith, I will say he's pretty good. Faris, playing Rachel Johnson, this being one of her early, no, well, I think this might be our first non R or PG-13 rated roles. I mean, I know she did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I think that was before or after this, but I could be wrong. Let me see. No, this was done before. No, this was after she had recently did the voice of Sam in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Jeanette in Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. She would later return to voice her in the following year's Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked, which I will be talking about that later in the year. But anywho, I will say I liked her. I mean, I appreciate what anything good that Faris does, and of course, this was still before M- Mom even premiered on TV. You know that recent CBS show. Yeah. For Ranger Jones, he's played by T.J. Miller, who later went on to play Erlich Bachman on HBO's Silicon Valley, the and also this is the guy who would play Weasel in Deadpool and its sequel. I gotta say he's pretty funny. And we have Nate Cordray as the chief of staff to Mayor Brown, who is played by Andy Daly. Not bad. And Josh Robert Thompson is the film's narrator. So the cast isn't too bad. It does have a pretty good score from John Debney. John Debney does a pretty good score for some films. But its overall music in soundtrack has some few good classic tunes and some new tunes made for the film. But I was rather disappointed that there was no updated version of the classic Yogi Bear theme song. I mean, come on, the Scooby Doo movie had a good rock and take of the classic song, and well, heck, even the wonderful B-52s did a decent, no, take cover of the Flintstones theme for the live action Flintstones movie. So why in the common blooming world couldn't they have done an updated Yogi Bear theme song? Make it sound just like the classic theme, huh? That could have made it pretty decent enough, don't you think? Or maybe not. But well, enough said about Yogi Bear. It's fine. It's okay. It's not great by any means, but it's fine and what have you. Would I recommend it? Well, if you're a big Yogi fan, I'd say give it a one-time watch. But if you're not, then stick with maybe Scooby Doo or the Flintstones or Alvin and the Chipmunks or any other cartoon that got turned into a live-action movie that you might like that got hit on. Okay. Enough said. What did you think of Yogi Bear? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. You know the rest. And I will review Yogi's theatrical film, Hey There, It's Yogi Bear soon. I have yet to review that, and I have yet to review his 3 films from the Hanna-Barbera Superstar team from the late 80s, okay? I'll try and do those sooner or later. Join me next time when I bring to you my ranking on my favorite horror flicks of 2025. So if you like this, check out my reviews for some of these other films. In the upper left hand corner, you can check out my review of Alvin and the Chipmunks from 2017, or you can go to the upper right hand corner and see my review of its sequel, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel from 2009. Or if you'd like another film with a bear in a real funny performance with a little predicament in a sequel, check out my review of Doctor Dolittle 2 with Eddie Murphy from 2001, the bottom left hand corner. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.